Media Academy Radio. The rhythm goes on. Get the vibes and get the feeling. Yes, Media Academy Radio.
Where hit music lives.
Feel the vibes.
When your music rocks and your station rocks.
What would I do without your smile now?
Ready, set. It's going down.
Right here at Yes, Media Academy Radio. The rhythm goes on.
Girl, I wanna be your owner.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Global News live from Yesma Radio, the first Media Academy radio. In the headlines, President Muhammadu Buhari suspend nasty boss 11 top officials. APC caretaker committee members meet Tinubu. And in business news, a Greek digital firm donates PPE to fight COVID-19. And going straight to the foreign scene, Khashoggi's mother, Turkish absentia triumph of 20 Saudi Opens. And in the world of sports, Igalo strike nominated for Manchester United Goal of the Month award. Now the news in detail. My name is Olatunde Idowu. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the immediate compulsory and indefinite suspension of Adebayo Shomefun, the managing director and the chief executive of the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund, NASTF. A statement read from the head of press and public relations at the Ministry of Labour and Employment, Charles Akwan, revealed that the president also suspended 11 top officials of the agency. They include Jasper Azua Talam, the Executive Director of Finance and Investment, Olukemi Nelson, Executive Director Operations, and Tijani Sulaiman, Executive Director Administration. Others are Olusegun Basharun, General Manager Administration and Human Resources and Maintenance, Lawan Tahir, General Manager Finance, Chris Esedebe, General Manager Claims and Compensation, Olodotun Adegbite, Deputy General Manager, Investment and Treasury Management, and Emmanuel Shike, Deputy General Manager, Finance and Accounts, amongst others. According to the statement, their suspension from office arose from the preliminary established prima facie infractions on the Extant Financial Regulations and Procurement Act and other acts of gross misconduct. The affected officers have also been directed to hand over to the most senior officer in their respective departments. Members of the Caretaker Committee of the All Progressive Congress APC have met behind closed door with national leader of the party, Bola Tinubu. The meeting held at the residence of the former Lagos State Governor in the Ikoyi area of Lagos State. Yobe State Governor and APC Caretaker Committee Chairman Mai Malabuni, as well as his Kebbi State counterpart and Chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Atiku Bagudu, led other members to the meeting. Others in attendance were the Secretary of APC Caretaker Committee, Senator Akpan Udo Edehe, as well as the Lagos State Governor, Babatunde Sanwo-Olu. Addressing reporters at the end of the meeting, Tinubu said the meeting was a consultation to move the party forward following the recent disagreement among some aggrieved members. He, however, denied any report of differences of rancor, although he said there was no way there will not be dissent in a political association. The Presidential Task Force (PTF) on COVID-19 has clarified the controversy surrounding the resumption of schools across the country. According to the PTF chairman, Boss Mustafa, the federal government has yet to approve the resumption of schools. Mustafa made the clarification in Abuja at the PTF briefing on COVID-19 days after his government days after the government said graduating students could resume classes in preparation for their examinations. He said, and I quote, "For the avoidance of doubt, schools have not resumed. Only critical examination classes will be allowed to resume for those who need to revise before examination." He reminded Nigerians that the PTF had announced some limited measures for the education sector, although he insisted that it was still not safe to reopen school. The PTF chairman explained that President Muhammadu Buhari approved the resumption for graduating students in order not to truncate their progression. A former Ekiti State Governor, Ayodele Fayose, said the special advisor to the president on political matters, Senator Babafemi Ojudu, and the former Minister of Works, Senator Adedayo Adeyeye, have no electoral value and they were not welcome into the People's Democratic Party. Fayose said although the two All Progressive Congress chieftains had problems with Governor Kayode Fayemi, the PDP was not ready to accommodate people that will not add any value to it. The two APC chieftains and others are locked in a battle of wits with Fayemi, who they allege was dictatorial. They also accused him of victimizing perceived critics of his government. The former governor, who spoke through his media aide Larry Olayinka in a statement, said, and I quote, "Apart from not having electoral value, Ojudu and Adeyeye are blackmailers and individuals whose needs are unstable. Above all, God's anger has caught up with them in their inordinate quest for power." Fayose's statement was in response to an earlier statement credited to Ojudu on a radio program in Ado-Ekiti. Ojudu was quoted as saying he will never contemplate joining PDP, adding, and I quote, "If he dies and they put the PDP flag on his coffin, he will wake up, tear it, and go back to sleep." In response, Fayose described the presidential aide as an opportunist who is always fighting for selfish gain, saying he fought against Niyi Adebayo himself, Sheguni, and is fighting Fayemi now. Ondo State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Wahab Adegbenro, has died at the age of 65. This is as the wife of the Ondo State Governor, Betty Anyanwu Akeredolu, one of the security aides to the governor, and the chief medical director of the University of Medical Sciences Teaching Hospital, Ondo, Dr. Oluwolege, were confirmed to have been infected with COVID-19. Though details of the cause of Adegbenro's death were not revealed as of yesterday evening, it was learned that he died of COVID-19. It was gathered that the commissioner had been sick for some days before he passed away on Wednesday morning at the Federal Medical Center, Owo, Ondo State. On the COVID-19 status of the governor's wife, one of Governor Akeredolu's aides, who spoke with our correspondent on condition of anonymity, told a correspondent that the governor's security aide also tested positive. It was gathered that Mrs. Akeredolu had been on self-isolation for the past few days and did not attend any function. Meanwhile, government activities were paralyzed in Ondo State following the announcement of the death of the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Wahab Adegbenro. Attaining the Golden Jubilee age is always a moment to ponder and give thanks to God Almighty for the privilege. One of such people is a faculty member of the Department of Communication and Language Arts, University of Ibadan, who clocked 50. While speaking with our correspondent Prosper Abolade Showme, the celebrant, Dr. B.C. Olawuyi Crown, gave gratitude to God Almighty for sparing his life to witness the Golden Jubilee age. We bring you the concluding part of that story in our subsequent bulletin. One of Nigeria's leading digital solution company for agriculture and health system has announced the donation of critical personal protective equipment to residents of Ajegunle community. This is part of its COVID-19 risk communication and prevention strategy to help Lagos State combat COVID-19. The items donated include face masks, hand gloves, and soaps to the residents of the community. According to the Agric Solution Provider firm, the donation, which lasted for over 8 weeks, targeted mostly underprivileged people such as residents, local market women, security personnel, medical staff, and other essential workers who are the first responder on the front line, providing care and treatment to people affected by the virus in the community. Commenting on the donation, the Chief Executive Officer, Blessing Mene, said, and I quote, "The intervention in Ajegunle community is very timely because Ajegunle is considered as the largest slum in Nigeria and one of the largest in sub-Sahara Africa." End of quote. Still listening to the global news coming to you live from the studios of Yes Ma Radio, the first media academy radio in Nigeria. Now going straight to the foreign scene, 20 Saudi nationals have gone on trial in absentia in Turkey over the murder of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. He was killed inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul in October of 2018. Those being tried include two former top aides to Saudi Arabia's powerful crown prince Mohammed bin Salman. Khashoggi was a vocal critic of the prince. Saudi Arabia carried out a separate trial over the killing that was heavily criticized as incomplete. The trial in Istanbul follows an international outcry over the murder, which tarnished the prince's reputation. Turkish prosecutors accused the former deputy head of Saudi intelligence Ahmed al-Asiri and the royal court media advisor Saud al-Qatani of having led the operation and instructed a Saudi hit team. The other 18 defendants are accused of having suffocated Khashoggi, whose remains have not been found. Turkish officials say his body was dismembered and removed to an unknown site. The journalist, who was resident in the U.S., had entered the consulate seeking papers for his impending wedding. His fiancée, Hiti Senges, is attending the trial alongside the UN Special Rapporteur on Extrajudicial Execution, Agnes Kalmad, who has directly linked the Crown Prince to the killing. The Saudi authorities initially denied any involvement in the case, but later called in a rogue operation. In December, a court in Saudi Arabia sentenced 5 people to death and 3 to jail for Khashoggi's killing, but the trial was secretive and the defendants were not named. And lastly, before I go, in the world of sports, the ex-Nigeria international is in line to scoop his second individual accolade since his arrival at Old Trafford. Odion Ighalo's strike against Norwich City has been nominated for Manchester United Goal of the Month award for June. The 31-year-old forward has been in fine form since joining the Red Devils in January on loan from Chinese Super League side Shanghai Shenhua. Alongside Norwich, against Norwich, the former Nigerian international was handed his 12th appearance and scored a sublime goal to help Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's men secure his place in the semi-final of the FA Cup. And that'll be all on global news for this hour. But before I go, let me bring you a recap of the stories we brought to you earlier. In the news, we told you that President Muhammadu Buhari has suspended Nastif Boss and 11 other top officials. The APC Caretaker Committee members have met with Tinubu. And in business news, a Greek digital firm donates PPE to fight COVID-19. On the foreign scene, we brought you the news of Khashoggi's mother as Turkish absentia trial of 20 Saudi opens. And in sport, we also told you that Ighalo's strike nominated for Manchester United Goal of the Month. All for now. The Yoruba version of the global news comes up immediately. The news was produced and edited by Prosper Abolade Showme and delivered by Olatunde Ido. Thanks for listening. Good afternoon.
Feel the vibes.
When your music rocks and your station